The quarter gone, 48% top-line growth. You're doing well. The ad environment seems really good. But I actually want to start with the next big thing, and that seems to be the user economy. That seems to be your focus. Tell me about the user economy strategy.
So, good morning. Thanks for having me. So, the user economy is the family of products and features that we're building to facilitate transactions between users on the platform. So user-to-user gifting, user-to-user subscription, user community subscriptions, things like that. We think there's a ton of potential here. One of our sayings at Reddit is the only thing that scales with users is users. And so, look, the ads business is great and can scale pretty much infinitely from our point of view, but we'd love to have another business model to sit alongside it, and that's what the user economy is.
Steve, alongside also the ad business that you say can infinitely scale, has been AI and the selling of data and licensing to some of those big businesses that are creating large language models based upon the data that you license, Google being one of them. How infinite is that revenue stream? Because once the models are trained, how necessary is it to keep on licensing?
So I think there's a couple of ways to look at this. First, the potential value here is, I think, quite large. And between us and other folks in the market, we're actually still developing that. We're finding increasingly folks coming to Reddit. And I think what we're seeing overall, big picture, is in the AI era where increasingly content online is written by machines, there's this increasing premium on content, perspectives, conversation that comes from real humans. And that's what Reddit provides. So far, we've done one kind of major content licensing deal with Google, but we're talking to others as well. But your question about is it a one-time thing or ongoing? I think what's really important here is folks want real-time access to up-to-date information, conversation, perspectives. Right? Imagine a search engine that stopped indexing in 2021. It wouldn't be very helpful. And so I think that real-time feed is really important.
Steve, you took the interesting step to ask Redditors, and particularly Redditors who are investors in the IPO, to submit questions. And those, some of which you answered on the call and some of which you'll follow up in video form. We're showing one of them now, which is, what is the justification for having $1 billion in working capital? Now, I want to take that question and apply it to AI. Data licensing is a revenue generation tool for you. But on the technology side, might we see some M&A that answers that question from your Redditor community, but also helps us understand a bit more, like, what are you guys going to do to increase competence, to increase the technology offering on AI?
Sure. Well, look, our first priority with the cash is to invest in the business. So to continue to develop the core Reddit product, the user economy, which we discussed, the developer platform, our AI efforts, all of those things. Our second priority would be M&A. And so, we're always, I think, looking in the market for teams and technology that can really kind of help advance our initiatives. And right, as you allude to, I think there's just a tremendous opportunity in AI, in search, both to make our core product better and potentially to expand it as well.
Let's talk about expansion, and particularly internationally, Steve, because there's much talk about how you're basically translating, able to bring what is, all the reviews, the content, the discussion groups, not just to those that are writing and speaking in the English language, but in French and European countries. How is this likely to be enabled by AI, but also add to the scale of international growth?
Well, this is really exciting. Like, not that long ago, we didn't have the capability of translating our content at human quality. But with today's large language models, we can do that. And so we can translate what is today our mostly English corpus into just about any language. And so we're doing that in French right now and testing that in France, and it's going very well. And so almost immediately, French speakers can see the entire Reddit corpus or consume the entire Reddit corpus in English. And a lot of Reddit's content is universal, right? It's just people talking about life. But even the content that is maybe regionally specific to America, I think is still really interesting to read, and vice versa. And so I'm really excited at this idea that we can fulfill the promise of the internet, which is allow people around the world in different countries and different cultures to communicate in their native language.
For our Bloomberg television and radio audience worldwide, we're speaking to the Reddit CEO, Steve Huffman. And Steve, things are going well right now, it seems. One of the technology changes at the start of this year and even before that was that Google started applying its work in large language models and AI to its search engine. And there is a school of thought that Reddit was a beneficiary of that just within search, Reddit becomes more commonplace, higher up the results that are given. Can you give us any sort of granularity on how that's helping you with growing the Redditor base and keeping the Redditor base?
Well, let's just take a step up for a second. Reddit has what people want, right? People have questions. They often go to Google with questions. Reddit has the best answers on the internet. They want advice. They want information. They want a sense of community and belonging. These are the things that Reddit provides. And search engines like Google, 10 years ago, last year, today, tomorrow, help people find that content on Reddit they're looking for, those answers they're looking for, those communities they're looking for. And so I think I look at this as a natural evolution. Search engines are getting smarter, they're getting better, they're getting more effective, which means they're getting more effective at helping users find what they're looking for on Reddit, which of course benefits our platform and our business. And so I think these are all, welcome evolutions, but Reddit's been a net beneficiary of search for a long time, and I expect that to continue.
How much have you been a net beneficiary of going public, Steve? How much did the IPO help draw people to the platform? How much was it a PR event, do you think, and actually boosted some of the community there?
Well, look, I'm sure that's an aspect to it. It's hard to say, and Reddit primarily grows through word of mouth anyway. We don't really do consumer marketing. And so I think anytime we're in the news, that helps, and the IPO was a lot of news. But look, the reason I was most excited about the IPO is that we were able to include our users as investors. Our users have this deep sense of ownership over Reddit, right? They create the communities, they create the culture, they create all of the content. And for them to have the opportunity to be actual owners, that was our dream. And that was one of the main reasons we went public in the first place. So that's actually what I'm most excited about.
Steve, as a kind of returning founder CEO of Reddit, what's your one personal goal for this year, something you want to achieve?
Well, look, we knocked out 2 of them. We got the company public, and I had my second kid. And so for the rest of this year, I want to deliver on some of the product initiatives that I've been very excited about. So developer platform, the user economy, the machine translation that we've discussed. These are all things, I think, in the day-to-day building of Reddit that I'm very excited about.